is we're going to start talking about how do we use this paint. So you are going to need today your mixed media paper. We're going to be working just right on this paper so that we can add water. So that's the beauty of a mixed media paper. You can work with it. Almost any art supply works on it. So I have my mixed media paper right here. You can see I have my paint. I have my paintbrush. I'm going to need a pencil. I have water. And I have paper towel. The one thing I don't have is, and I'm going to need, is a circle. So if you use your water cup before you fill it with water, you can trace it. Otherwise, this is the lid from my yogurt this morning. You need a circle. That's going to take up about half of the page. So you can see these are actually the same size. And we're going to use, like I said, about half the page because we're going to end up making 2 of these. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and trace this twice on my paper. We're going to use one today and we're going to use one tomorrow. But now I have 2 circles on my sheet, which is great. Next, I thought I had my ruler handy. Made it disappear. Really disappear. I need my ruler. Oh, there it is. Okay, I thought I had everything ready to go. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to divide this circle in half. So I'm just kind of looking for the half place here, and I've made little marks. Then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to lightly draw a line across the middle. If I want, I can do both circles at the same time, or I can just do one. So I need half. I need 6 wedges, okay? 6. So half, now I need 3. So what I'm going to do is just looking at the half, I'm going to use my finger and the point of my pencil. And I'm just going to roughly divide these spaces so that they're about even. Doesn't have to be perfectly even. And then I'm going to do the same thing out here at the top of my circle. And I'm just, like I said, it just needs to be fairly even. It doesn't need to be perfect. So dividing into 3. And then I'm going to connect these dots so that I have a circle that's divided into 6 pieces of pie. Okay. We are going to be talking about something called complementary colors today. So if I get out a color wheel, and this is a color wheel that was made using the paints in the paint set. So it's a very accurate representation of the colors that are here. So you can see here on my sheet that both of these are yellow. So this is the lemonier yellow and this is the kind of darker, more golden yellow. Here are the 2 reds. The one that we're always going to call red is the more pinky one. This one that's more orangey is the color that we are going to call orange. And here are the 2 blues that are in the palette. One of them is a little, this one is just like a clean, like royal blue, and the other one has like a little bit of like green or something in it. It's like a little turquoisey. So if we look at a color wheel like this, we can find complementary colors directly across from one another on the color wheel. So directly across the wheel from my yellows is my purple. Directly across from my blues are orange. And directly across from my reds is green. Complementary colors are interesting. They have two different relationships with each other. If I put them side by side, they make each other look brighter. So blue always looks brighter next to orange. Red looks brighter next to green. Yellow looks brighter next to purple. Interestingly enough, when you mix them into each other, when you mix them together, they make each other duller, or they neutralize each other. And when we neutralize complementary colors, what we do is make a series of browns. So this is where we're going to get our skin colors from, is with our complementary color pairs. And we're going to make a whole color wheel of skin color. Before we make a color wheel of skin color, however, we're just going to practice with the paint today and make a color wheel with our complementary colors. So here's what you're going to do. We are going to be, to think about this, I don't have my example with me. Yellow and purple, okay? So I'm going to just write on here so I remember myself. And I recommend that you do the same thing. So we're going to mix yellow with purple. We are going to mix orange with blue. And we are going to mix red with green. Okay, so this first color wheel is just going to be those complementary colors, and it's going to give us a way to talk about how we're going to paint. So, watercolor painting 101. You will see that this paint right now is dry and it is not paint. Like, I can put my whole hand on here and I get no paintiness. Watercolor isn't paint unless we add the water. This part is the color. I need to make it watercolor paint by adding the water. So the way we do that is to take water. So I'm going to take clean water and I'm going to put water on the colors that I'm going to use today. So I know I'm going to need my orange. I'm going to need my red. I'm going to need my purple. I'm going to need one of the yellows. So you get to decide which yellow you prefer. I'm going to try the golden yellow today. I'm going to need the green. And I'm going to need one of the blues. It's up to you which blue you try. I haven't decided yet which blue I want. But you can see while my water is fresh and clean, I'm just dripping some paint onto my palette so that my color can start absorbing some water. Next, I am going to take my color and, oops, just can't see that. I'm going to take my color and my paintbrush and I'm going to use my paintbrush a little like a tongue and like lick paint off the top of the pile. So I'm going to take my paint and I'm not going to go right to my paper with it. I'm going to mix it out here on my palette first. And you'll see that I don't clean up my palette. I leave it kind of messy because watercolor isn't permanent paint. So this just means the water is gone and I can put more water on here again and I can paint still using these colors. So once I've mixed up colors that I know that I'm going to use again, I can leave them out here on my palette to have for later. So I'm just kind of mixing my paint out here on the palette. And this color is my orange. And so I'm going to start out here with my orange. And I'm just going to paint across my wedge. I want to see what this color looks like as it gets a little lighter. And so I'm not going back for any additional color, but I am painting as I go to the middle. And then I'm going to get just the tiniest bit of water here. Clean my paintbrush off. And so I'm making it lighter as I go to the middle. This is for practice because it's when we make the skin tones, they start out really, really dark at first, and it's good for us to see the range of tone you can get from the different combinations. So there we go. There's my orange. Now, watercolor is kind of a funny paint in that it takes on the personality of a little bit of a puddle. So if I go ahead and paint right next door with my red, which I can do, I have to be careful not to touch my orange. So I'm going to come back up here, take some licks off the top of my pile. And I can't touch my red and my orange or the colors will mix together on my paper. So I'm going to paint with my red and leave just a little tiny white gap. So it's important for you to do that as you paint your colors. This is what I want you to accomplish today, is to paint these complementary colors just across from each other in a bit of a color wheel. Different from a normal color wheel, just in the fact that we're not using all of the colors. Practice working with the paint, mixing it out on the tray, and practice adding just a little bit of water as you go, or letting your paint run out as you go, so that it gets lighter to the center. And you're just going to paint your way around the circle. There's today's assignment. I'm just going to keep painting.